Okay. Ooh, quite nice, quite nice. Oh, next nice. Nicely worn in. Actually, I quite like that as it is. I'd keep that myself if I wasn't painting it. Quite like the green sort of antique looking pickups and knobs. Actually, it has got a really nice action. It's a nice scratch plate, so I've got a nice vintage look to it, so I'm going to be keeping this anyway. This is not going to be used on the actual guitar. I'll be using this one here because I'm going to actually be painting the scratch plate. Similar to what I did with the Jack Daniels one, I'll show you that in a sec, because the customer wants a humbucker single coil. So we'll be using that, and that hopefully should give him a really nice sound and tone. Similar to what I did with the Jack Daniels Strat here, the actual scratch plate will be painted the same as the actual body, so it won't be separate. It'll all be the pattern and shading and colouring and everything will be continued onto the actual scratch plate. The guitar here on the bench, just on my little homemade neck stand here. So first thing first, I think I'm going to take these strings off. Okay, so we're all stripped apart, and it's got a nice big number 3 in there. That was a big W. So I don't know what it's really for. It's a swimming pool cut out. I think it's solid wood. Seems to be. No ply, doesn't look like ply. It's quite nice. Just got the strap pegs to take off, and then we can start prepping that, probably first with something like a 180 to give it a really good key in a flat. We'll do it with a block, and then we're going to get some epoxy primer on there and let that set and dry before we get the silver base coat on there, before we do the metal flake. Yeah, so it's all going quite well so far. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to let this sit for a good 24 hours, and then we'll give it a good flat with a 400 grit, put some silver base on it, and then we'll get some metal flake on there. And then that's going to have to sit for at least a week before we do the artwork over the top. Right, so that's the metal flake on, and for some reason, oh, you can see it a little bit, the camera just does not do it justice. You just see it there. There you go. There you go. Look, a little bit of flake. There's loads of mirror flake in there, but this is all going to have to be completely flattened back. I may put some lacquer over the top first. Another couple of coats, get it really nice and flat. But if it flats out nicely, it's got 2 coats on there over the top of the 2 coats of lacquer with the metal flake in. So if that flats out nicely, I might just go on straight on top of the artwork. So when this is all flat, because it is quite peely now and quite speckly because of the metal flake the not laying flat. But when it's all flat completely and it's got loads of clear on it, it's going to really sparkle. Okay, so I'm going to leave this now, probably for around a week or so, and then we'll come back and we'll do the artwork and the airbrushing, and then we're going to whack more clear on it, and then we're going to leave that for another week or so, and then we're going to flat it, polish it, build it all back up, and go from there. I've actually put on 2 more coats of clear with a pearl additive, and just to give it an extra bit of dimension to it when it's actually finished. And then I've flatted it all down with an 800 grit, so it's all nice and flat. There's no peel in it at all now, so it should be nice for the airbrushing. The design is like a stars and stripes sort of motif. It's going to be the same on the front as it is on the back. So it's going to be quite a complicated little job. There's the front there, as you can see. There's a mark there. So you can see there it's all nice and flat now. There's no peel in it. So it should be nice when I put the next coat of clear over the top. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, is lay this down nice and gently. So I'm going to have to wrap all this around. I've also got a little bit of extra vinyl as well over there with the same design cut on it, so I can continue around all the edges, because I want it to wrap all the way around the guitar so it looks more custom. And then when I've got it all laid down, I'll mask off the blue so that's all covered. I'll do the red in here. I'm probably going to do it with my airbrush, I think. So what I'm going to do now, I think, is start laying this out. I think I'm pretty much in the place I want to be. I'll be going over the scratch plate again, and then I'll remove the scratch plate after I've done the design for when we do the final clear. Right, so this masking job, I thought it'd take me about 10-15 minutes. It's taken me nearly 2 hours to get it all right. I think you'll agree though, it looks pretty good so far. I've actually gone over all the areas now with some little fine masking tape, some fine line. It's the very thin stuff. It's the Japanese style stuff. I really like this stuff for my fine lining and things, just to make sure the edges and all the gaps are all nice. I've masked off the actual blue area. And this is just with application tape as well, so I can peel this off and the stickers will stay there, but then I'll have to mask all this off afterwards when I've done the red. So the next job is going to be the airbrushing the red on, the red candy. Okay, so I hope you caught most of that on the time lapse. I had to have my camera quite far away because lacquer does actually ruin the lens quite badly. This is probably 2 or 3 coats. I want to go into the edges here a little bit more of the actual candy, just to darken it up a little bit, give it a bit more of a sort of detail and 3D look. I was tempted to go in with some black, but I don't think I'm going to bother. I'm just going to build it up with the candy. It's nearly dry now because this is the really fast drying lacquer that I used before. So I've just got a little bit more to do, I think, just to add a little bit more depth and detail, and then we'll let that dry. Looks good against the yellow, actually. Could do some like flames on another guitar, couldn't I? Anyway, thinking of the next project already. Yeah, just needs a little bit more detail, get rid of some of the cloudiness and bring up the depth and darken it up on just on the edges as well, to give it that, like I said before, a 3D sort of look. So I'm all demasked now. All I've got to do is leave this for 24 hours or so, let this all harden up, and then I can mask off the red and the silver. We can do the blue candy over the stars, and then we can let that dry. Then we can put a load of clear over it, probably 3 coats. We'll have to leave that for about a week or so, and then we can flat and polish it and start rebuilding it when the new components arrive. Well, that was fun, to say the least. Little tiny little bit of a run, bleed through there on from the masking, but the bridge is going there, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, it's gone on really well. I think once it's actually all re-cleared as well. I think that'll just add to the gloss, because then the silver will shine as well and the metal flake will all come out of it. It'll look a lot deeper and a lot glossier, but I'm really pleased with how that's come out. It was a fun job. It was quite stressful at times, mostly with the demasking and taking the actual stars off. There's a couple of little stars I'm going to have to go in with a little scalpel blade and clean up a little bit once the actual candy has dried. But yeah, generally really pleased. So what I'm going to do now is let that sit for a good 24 hours, and then tomorrow I'll put some more clear on it. Then that'll have to sit for at least a week before we start doing the flattening and polishing. So there's the fresh clear on the actual scratch plate and back plate, and on the guitar as well. Still a little bit sticky. I'm going to leave this now for a week or so, just so it all hardens up nicely. Then we'll give it a good flat and polish, and we can start building it up. I'm just going over the actual guitar all over now with some 1500 wet and dry, just with a little bit of glass cleaner in my JD bottle, just to remove any peel, to make it nice and flat, so when we polish it up we get a nice smooth shiny finish. Just going over by hand. There's still a little bit of a ridge where the graphics were, so I'll try and get that out as much as possible. I don't think I'm going to get it out without actually re-clearing them, but I don't want to put any more clear on this guitar, because I think there's quite enough material on here already, and I don't want the risk of cracking and things like that as the actual guitar dries out. I am going to flat it as much as possible, though, to try and lessen the actual ridge, and you can hardly feel that actually now. It's quite smooth and flat. That's just with a quick going over with 1500. And then I'll go over again after that, just with a 2000 Abralon pad, or Trizac pad I should say, not Abralon, just to basically enhance the actual finish, make it nice and smooth, bring it back up to a sort of semi-gloss finish. And then we'll go over the entire thing with my machine polish. I'll probably use my DA polisher on this, just a little bit more gentle than the rotary. There's the new bridge. It's not a Geico one, unfortunately. So if Geico are watching, you want to sponsor me and send me out some nice new stuff, that'd be quite nice. I've also got a new jack plate. I did paint the old jack plate with some red candy. I think that looks quite good. But, just put it down the camera a little bit. But I think this will scratch quite easily because it's just over the chrome. So I think I'm just going to put the new one on. Just a general standard sort of jack plate. So I think that'll look quite nice with the chrome, and the chrome against the bridge as well. So I don't want to detract again. So as you can see, the guitar is pretty much built up. It's gone together really, really nicely. Paint finish is nice and glossy and shiny. I did change the actual knobs to the white. I think it looked better than the classic white, especially with the white pickups and the tremolo arm end. Hope you can hear me above the rain. I'm having a bit of a rainstorm at the moment. This is typical British weather, pouring it down with rain. So I think I'm going to do now is I'm just going to dress the ends of the frets. They're really good anyway, and like I said in a previous video, but I just want to smooth them off ever so slightly, just to give them a bit of a polish, and maybe just give the fret tops a bit of a polish as well. The neck is really flat. I did check it with my straight edge, slight bit of relief in it. There's no crazy bows or anything. I did actually clean the neck with some lemon oil. It's come out lovely. It's nice and glossy and shiny. It feels really silky smooth. I'll probably give it a little bit of a buff with a soft cloth as well, just to give it that extra bit of luster. So I think I'll do that next while waiting for the strings, and then we can string her up and give it a test. So there we have the completed Strat. New set of Ernie Ball strings. They are the regular slinkies, which is a little bit heavier than I'm used to. I usually like the super slinkies, but gives it a really nice tone. I think, yeah, the strings keep going out of tune because new strings and all that, but it's got a really nice tone. This is just on a clean setting on Guitar Rig. I think it's Guitar Rig 5, just on a clean Strat setting. That's the front pickup, middle pickup, a little bit more, and the bridge pickup has got a nice which is very, very similar, like I said before, to my Jack Daniels Strat. So I'm really, really pleased with how this has come out. I hope the customer's going to be happy with it, or Marcus, if you're watching, your signature guitar. I've got to trim these strings, which I shall do in a while. I'll just let the actual strings settle in a little bit first. I've got still got to adjust the intonation because that's not completely settled yet. So when I've done that, I think it's pretty much done. I'm really glad I actually went to the white knobs in the end. I think the blue clashed a little bit, it wasn't the correct blue. If it was the same as the switch knob here, the same candy blue, I think it would have been okay. But I think that gives it more of a classic look anyway. Well, if you've liked this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bloody lovely that is.